Welcome to the Properties to Profit podcast. I'm Michael, your host. Excited to share with you my journey from a six-figure job to building a successful real estate business. Each episode will explore various aspects of real estate investing, from wholesaling and flipping to managing rentals. I'll share the lessons and insights I've gained, aiming to help you avoid mistakes and achieve your financial goals. Expect guest experts, valuable tips, and practical advice to guide you on your own real estate journey. Thank you for tuning in. If you find any value in this podcast, please subscribe, share, and follow me on social media. Let's turn properties into profits together. Hey guys, Michael here with Properties to Profit. Now on today's Monday Mindset, what I really wanted to talk about is these major events or any event that happens in your life and how much control you have over how you react to that event. So many times in my life, I have realized that it's not the event that matters or whatever happened in your life. It's how you react to it, and it's what you take away from the event and learn from the event. So I'm going to give you guys a couple different examples. One of them is me and my brother grew up in the same situation. I'm not going to go too much into our situation, but I'm not going to say it was a perfect situation. And in a lot of ways, I'd say we had a better than average situation too, but in a lot of ways, it was much worse than average too. But what I'm going with this is my brother's a factory worker and I'm working on growing a $10 million business. We're 18 months apart. We both barely graduated high school, and I'm not sure he actually did. I think he got his GED. I went to college for a little bit. I didn't ever go to a class, so I don't know if I could say I went to college. He went down a path of drug use, alcohol, all of those things. He had 2 or 3 kids with all different women before he was like 26, I think, 25. I didn't have my first kid till I was 30. So there's a big difference there, right? And I'd worked my entire life. I had a W-2 job on track to make over $300K at one point. I doubt legally he's ever made more than $50,000 a year. What I do to share that with you is our childhoods were very similar growing up. And in some ways, I say his is better. But in some ways, I'd say it was much worse too. So it's all about perspective, right? And how you handle the event. So he took the event and he turned it on himself on what he did wrong. Or I'm sorry, what he did wrong. But he took the event and turned it on how everything happened to him, how it didn't happen for him. I took all those events, the abuse we saw and all those things, and said, I don't want to be like that. I don't want that life for me. I heard all the time I could never have nice things. I wanted those nice things. I was told all the time, we can't afford that. Those things are only for like rich snobs, whatever the case might be. That never applied to me. I said, hey, I want these cars. I want the big houses. I want the money. And I want it because I enjoy those things, but I also love it because it inspires others. That's what inspired me as a young kid to keep going. And so the events that happened to us as a child, we grew up seeing drug use and gun violence and all of those things. One of us has never used a drug and never abused a gun. I've used guns safely. My brother has always used guns the correct way and not for violence. I've never used a gun for violence, never used a weapon for violence or anything like that. I've never used drugs either. So we both went different ways and we had the same event. Why is that? It's how I processed the event. I didn't say it happened to me. I didn't become a victim. I said, hey, what can I learn from this even as a young kid? And what can I do differently than the people that I didn't like being around were doing? And I did it differently. I worked so I didn't stay in trouble. Literally, that was one of the reasons I worked all the time and didn't play sports, because even in sports at the high school level, I was introduced to drugs and alcohol. And I was like, I don't want this. So if this is here, I'm going to go leave. At work, that was never introduced to me. I'm not saying it didn't happen afterward, but I had a choice that I could leave those people at that point, right? And so my brother, on the other hand, said, life sucked. I don't know how to be happy, all of these things. And he turned to other things that he thought would fulfill him. And he said happiness at the time, actually, but I truly believe he was seeking fulfillment. And those drugs were never going to fulfill him. The violence was never going to fulfill him. The women was never going to fulfill him. The kids were never going to fulfill him until he found his purpose in life. And I think he's on that track. I think he's a much more fulfilled person now that he's clean and all of those things. So what I really want to talk about today, guys, is these events that are going to happen in your life. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples, right? I just had a salesperson leave, and he is looking at all the events happening in his life that, hey, life's supposed to bring me down, and this isn't meant for me, and all of these things, where you could turn around and say, hey, these things are happening to me and why? And then he could look at all the things he's done and how much control he has. But that's not what he's doing. He's playing the victim mindset, saying, oh, things aren't the same here, and all of those things, which are true. We're holding him more accountable, right? But I think most people would say that's a good thing, right? So that's another instance where you can control. You can't control the event, but you can control how you react and how you process the event and what you learn from the event. So no matter what the event is, whether it's a positive or negative thing, there's always something positive to take from it, or something you could have done better, which is going to help improve your life. So another thing I am going through is I'm going through a custody battle. I have never once said my ex is at fault for any of this. Never once. You won't hear it out of my mouth. I don't blame her for this, any of this. I don't blame her family for this. All of the things that are happening, I could have gone left and I went right? And if I didn't do X, Y potentially doesn't happen. I will never get anywhere in life if I am playing the blame game, saying they did this to me and all of these things. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know and I don't care. What I could have done differently is what I care about. Where was I not the perfect human being, right? And not to say perfection is possible, because it's not, but I want to focus on the things that I could have done better, right? And if I'm being honest with myself, there's probably 100 different things I could have done a little bit better. Some of them, there's more room to do better on. Others, there's not. And the reason I didn't know how to handle those things is because I didn't work on other problems early on in life, right? I could have been going to therapy to learn to process emotions and handle tough things. And I didn't do that consistently, right? That's what I personally need. And I think a lot of us do. So that's just another event that I would say most people would say, hey, going through a custody battle, having to pay lawyers and all of these things, and having to produce over 70,000 pages of documents, which is crazy, right? But perks of being a business owner and having a kid and not being with them, I could focus on all of the negatives, right? And play the blame game and say, this is ridiculous, which I personally do believe it is ridiculous, but whose fault is it, right? It's not their fault, right? They didn't do this to me and I was perfect, right? And I'll never say I was perfect. So I got to focus on the things that I could have improved on. And there are several of those things. So that's what I've been doing there. For example, we're having a couple rough months in our business. After having one of the best months I've ever had in business in February, most profitable, most revenue, all of those things across all avenues of business. Well, the next 2 months were lackluster at best. And one of those things was I didn't do a great job of checking with my team. I actually did a miserable job. I didn't see where they were at, how they were feeling, what they were accomplishing or what they weren't accomplishing. And if I would have been checking in with them all along, that's the event. We had 2 bad months in a row. We could have done better. But I can't focus on what we missed. I got to focus on, hey, what do I need to improve on? Well, the improvement is, hey, I need to have my high-level meetings with my executives. I need to have consistent sales manager one-on-ones with my sales people. I need to check in with them daily, make sure that they're writing down their KPIs and all of those things and their metrics, listening to their calls and making sure that they're always improving and doing better. Those are the things I should have been doing, and I wasn't. And so I could focus on the bad month, or I could focus on the things that I didn't do and that helped produce the bad month, on the factors that I could control to help change future months, right? And there's no guarantee, but I bet if I did all those things, my months would have been better. I firmly believe that. Now, maybe I do all those things and the economy comes crashing down. I can't control that, but I can control my actions. And if I do everything I can to control my actions to make sure that the outcome is different, then the event will be better next month. The event will be more sales closed, which better revenue, more profits, which is all a good thing for a small business owner. So You guys, I think, are getting the touch here of like, there's all these events, and I can focus on the bad or I can focus on the good. So if you're gonna take a look at the bad, just take away what you could have done better. Don't dwell on the bad. Focus on the things you could improve, right? Don't say, hey, this event sucked, whatever this event is. Focus on the things you can improve. And then look at what you did well and do more of that too. So there's pros and cons to every event that ever happens. You need to find the pros, and then you need to see, hey, what led to the cons and what of the cons could I control? And then become a better person, raise your standards, do all of those things so you can control more events and have more positive events later on in your life, which will lead to greater success, I believe, in life and more fulfillment. And that's what we're all chasing here, is more fulfillment. We all want to be more fulfilled. Everyone thinks it's balance or happiness. I don't believe that. I don't believe we all want to be happy in life, because if we were all happy in life, we wouldn't understand the other side of the equation. And without sadness or darkness, you don't have happiness. What I think we're chasing is fulfillment. And that's what I'm really focused on, is making sure that I am most fulfilled, my teammates are most fulfilled, which is all my employees, and everyone around me in my life is fulfilled. That's what I'm working on. And I think one big way you can do that is don't focus on how bad the event was. Focus on the things that you can control during the event that you personally did badly. And then make sure that next time your standards have raised, that when that same event happens, you've done the most you can to get to the next level. And here's the thing is, we can always do better. So you'll be able to look at the next similar event and be like, okay, what could I improve on? And there will be things and options for you to improve on. And you've got to take the action steps to do those things. Okay, guys? So I hope you guys learned something from that. If you found any value, let me know. If you could shoot me a message on Instagram and I'll follow. It's realestatemike02. I would greatly appreciate that. And this was a little bit longer, but I wanted to go in deeper about it because I feel like there's a lot we could unpack there. And let me know if you want to go even deeper, because I think I could. Look forward to you guys. I appreciate all of you and hope you got some value out of this. Thanks. Thank you for listening to the Properties for Profit podcast. I hope you found today's episode valuable. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and share it with others who might benefit. Follow me on social media for more updates and tips. Until next time, keep turning properties into profits.